So today was the NHL trade deadline, and we had a couple of big blockbuster deals in there, which include the Tampa Bay Lightning looking like a true Stanley Cup contender. But I thought, why don't we take all the trades that were done at today's NHL trade deadline and put every single player who was involved in the trade onto one team in NHL 18 franchise mode and see how well the whole team of players that were moved around in today's deadline could perform. Hey guys, what is going on today? Joe here, back again to do another NHL 18 franchise mode simulation where today's team theme is based all on the NHL trade deadline. As I mentioned, a lot of really significant deals were being made today, a lot of players being moved around, lots of picks being thrown around, and one huge blockbuster trade to cap it all off at that 3 o'clock deadline. So I thought, why not throw all these guys onto one team and see how well they can perform and if they're actually worth their price at this year's trade deadline. So if you guys wouldn't mind, make sure to go down to that like button down below, make sure to hit it. Let's try to get this one up above 200 likes, and also leave down in the comments section down below who you think the winners and losers of this year's trade deadline were. Without further ado, let's go show you guys the team and talk about the trades that were made today as well, very briefly. Okay guys, so here is what the forward core is going to be looking like. On the first line, we have Evander Kane going from Buffalo to San Jose, Paul Stastny, and Thomas Vanek. So Thomas Vanek now has a new home in Columbus, being moved from Vancouver. Good job, Jim Benning. What a return you got for Thomas Vanek. My goodness. What a return. Clap it up for Jim Benning, everybody. Clap it up. So once again, this first line looks pretty decent. 84, 83, 83. The overall team stats was the overall team got a 90, which was very, very surprising to see. But the first line is decent. It's like a second line is being played as a first line, but nothing too fantastic. Second line, we got Vasilov and Nemestikov, Ryan Spooner, and JT Miller. Obviously, Miller and Nemestikov switching teams in that big blockbuster deal between the Rangers and the Tampa Bay Lightning. And Ryan Spooner getting dealt to the New York Rangers in that deal for Rick Nash being moved to the Boston Bruins. As we go to the third line, there is Rick Nash, his new home in Boston. Thomas Plekanec going from Montreal to Toronto, and Thomas Tatar going from Detroit to the Vegas Golden Knights. Vegas paying an arm and a leg for Thomas Tatar, getting not one, not two, but 3 draft picks in return for him. So good job by Detroit, by Holland, to get a nice return for Tatar. And then on the fourth line, we got Patrick Maroon going from Edmonton to New Jersey, Nick Shortdyke, who got moved around to a couple different teams, and then Ryan Hartman going from Chicago to Nashville. As we move to the defense here, it's a little bit weak. Not many defensemen didn't get moved in the trade deadline this year for sure. I didn't include Johnny Oduya on this list because he was picked up by waiver, so technically he wasn't traded, although I could have thrown him in there. I also could have threw in Erik Karlsson onto this pair, but Ottawa didn't trade him, as the asking price is really that high for Erik Karlsson. Anyways, we got Ryan McDonagh and Dion Phaneuf, who are going to be the first 2 pair there. Obviously, Ryan McDonagh moving to Tampa Bay. And should we give Tampa Bay the cup right now? I mean, God almighty. McDonagh and Hedman as a 1-2 pair? Yeesh. Second pair, we got Ian Cole and Nick Holden, and then Mike Riley and Joe Morrow. So like I said, not many defensemen were able to be moved. And then as we go to the goaltenders, not many goaltenders got moved either. Darcy Kemper was technically traded at a little bit before the deadline, and same thing with our current Flyers goalie, Pierre Mrazek, got moved a couple days before the deadline. I included those guys because pretty much there was only like 3 or 4 goalies that were moved entirely throughout this entire trade deadline leading up to it. As for the scratch players, Toby Reeder, Tommy Wingles, Brendan Leipsic are on the scratch list. There's obviously a bunch more since I'm in franchise mode down in the minors. Alright, so if we go to roster moves, just to briefly show you guys some other of the players that got moved. Scott Wedgwood got moved from Arizona, so he was the only other goaltender I included on that list. If we go in the system for defensemen, Michael Kempney was really the only other defenseman that was moved out of Chicago, so he was gone. Left wingers, Michael Grabner, Marian Gaborik, Jussi Jokinen, and Matt Bolesky were the main guys who got traded here, but obviously their overalls are a little bit too low to be included onto the NHL roster. And then finally on the centers, it was Chris Wagner and Nate Thompson that got moved a little bit before the trade deadline. So those were the guys who were not going to be included in the lineup. There's obviously a bunch of other like low-end prospects that got traded as well, but for obvious reasons and their overall, not going to include them. So I opted to replace the New York Rangers with this custom team because I feel like they gutted their team by all means necessary, getting rid of Rick Nash, Ryan McDonough, Nick Holden, JT Miller. They got rid of a ton of really good players on the Rangers, so I decided let's get rid of them. Let's put these guys into the Metro and see how well they can perform up against the best division, one of, if not the best division in the NHL right now. So let's get the sim in here. I'll take you guys up until the trade deadline, and we'll see how the team is doing then. So let's start the sim. So we have arrived to today's date, the 27th of February, and currently the team stands 22, 32, and 9. Doing a little bit better than I have expected them to be. They did have a nice little winning streak here right 2 weeks before the deadline. They had a 5-game winning streak, and they have got points in 7 out of their last 8 games, which is pretty good. They're probably still last place in the Metro without any question. Let's see. Yes, whoops, went over one too much. Yeah, they are. They're at 63 points, 7 points behind the New York Islanders. Are they the worst team in the league? Probably. They're not. Florida's doing worse than them, so they're not the worst team in the league, which is always nice to see. And Thomas Vanek is leading the team in points. So let's go check out the point totals really quick so forwards, Thomas Vanek, 41 points, 20 goals, 21 assists. Evander Kane with 39. Nemestikov 38, Rick Nash and Paul Stastny each with 37, Spooner with 36, Plekanec with 30. So they do have a lot of guys over like 40 and 30 points, which is good. JT Miller with 30 points, Tatar 25, Hartman 20, Patrick Maroon 15, and Nick Short with 14. So I mean they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 out of their 12 forwards are all above 30 points so far. For their overalls, it's not terrible to say the least. Defenseman, McDonough with 19, Phaneuf with 9, Cole with 8, Holden with 6, Riley with 5, and Joe Morrow with 2. Obviously, a couple of those guys are getting some overall upgrades in there as well. And then the goaltenders, let's see how Peter and Kemper are doing. Mrazek 18, 25, and 7. Kemper 4, 7, and 2, both of which save percentages are around the same, .90, 6, and 8. Both have 1 shutouts. Goals against averages are roughly around the same too, 2.95, 2.98, and no points for each of those guys. So, yeah, I expected the team not to do well, but they're doing a lot better than I thought they would. So, let's finish up the sim here and see if they could have a nice little strong end to the season. Alright guys, so the season has indeed ended, and the team definitely did finish strong. 73 points was their total, 31, 40, and 11, not bad at all. Worst team in the NHL? Nope. The Florida Panthers were still the worst, so second worst team in the NHL. 48 points for Vanek on the year, 24 goals, 24 assists for 48 points, so hopefully the Blue Jackets will enjoy him. Nemestikov, Rick Nash all got 40, both got 47. Spooner, Evander Kane, Paul Stastny all had in that mid-40s range. Plekanec and Miller, upper 30s. Tatar, mid-30s. McDonough had 25, Hartman 24. Maroon and Shore both had 22, Phaneuf, Cole, and all the guys down here, all the defensemen really with no points on the year, pretty much. And then the goaltenders, Mrazek, you know, he did the best he could, .907, .903 for Kemper and Mrazek. Kemper was almost a 500 goalie, which was would have been nice. The goals against averages kind of lowered a little bit, but not by much. Still high 2 point whatevers, near that 3.0 mark. And yeah. That's how they ended. They got 30 wins. So hopefully once the roster update comes out, I'm assuming it'll probably come out within like a week or two. Maybe we'll run this simulation again and see what, after all the new rosters get moved around, we'll see if Tampa actually has the star power to be able to win that cup, which I think a lot of people will be expecting them to do so. But Boston might give them a run for their money. And as you guys can see from the standings right there, Tampa Bay, Toronto, Boston, pretty much how it will end up in the regular season. Metro, Pittsburgh, Columbus, New Jersey, Washington, Phillies in there right there as well. Hopefully, Flyers will be able to make the playoffs. San Jose, Anaheim, Vegas, Kings, Calgary. That actually pretty much makes sense. Winnipeg, Nashville, Colorado. Yeah, kind of makes sense. Thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. As always, remember to leave down below your thoughts on the trade deadline, who you think the winners and losers of this year were. I'm not going to do a whole video like I did last time. I just don't have the time anymore. But hopefully you guys did enjoy. I'll see you guys next time for another video. Peace.